Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey everybody, we're talking about detox Mythbusters. So we want to talk about a few things that we hear a lot about in the health social media world. And we wanted to talk to you about the things that are really popular, not trying to say that they're not good.
The
but we're
trends,
saying
the
trends. What were they intended to do? What do they actually do? We're trying to go for the pros and cons and go back and forth and see. So the first thing, Courtney, we're going to talk about are foot pads.
Yes.
So have you seen those foot pads where...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. We all really want these things to work because they claim to be like the miracle, that it's going to be the one thing that changes the game for everybody's health. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we have stuck those things on all the time. And
did it turn color?
Yeah. But I've always questioned, like, what is that really? Are those toxins? Is that dark color? It looks like it's pulling straight tar out of my body. Like, what is this?
That's true.
I'm actually very curious to know, and you're probably way more educated on this.
I think there's the difference between having, like, they say a good quality foot pad versus a bad foot pad quality. But the thing is, there's not really a set of association that can, like, measure them. Yeah. Now, the premise, in my opinion, is that, like, an Ionic foot bath, people have this, like, discrepancy about that. But they say that many of the toxic material in your body are they're positively charged ions. So if you take a negatively charged ion or like a small device that actually emits the negative charged ions, you can actually attract the positive charged ions, which would mean it's attached to the toxins. And so since it diffuses through the feet, right, the pores in the hands are the areas where you have most of your sweat that comes out of the body, it goes through the actual pores, and when it gets to the outside into the water, it solidifies. And that's why you see different colors on the surface. So if you had lymph congestion, it would be orange or yellow. If you had heavy metals, it would be black. Now, the foot pads, they say, have some of the same materials because you can use certain polymers and certain quartz crystals in a pad that actually can emit positively charged ions, which would attract the negative through your skin. So when it does pull the junk out, the dark color, it could be that it oxidizes because when things oxidize, they change color.
Yeah.
So if you have a night where you pull the pads off and they're really, really, gross or, just filthy, it would tell you, though, that you have heavy amounts of toxicity. So it would mean that you'd have to do that quite a bit to feel a big detox change.
I've heard that before. We talked to somebody, Dr. Wendy Myers, and she actually likes using the Ionic foot baths, but she did say you have to use them repeatedly. Like she said, you need hundreds of uses of them, like continual use. So I think like most people probably aren't getting the benefit because who's doing it that frequently? Yeah. That's probably like the big thing. So maybe it's not that they don't work. Maybe it's just it is only helping detoxify in one way, and you've got to use it a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll talk about this even more, but do they work? I think you just have to find a good quality foot pad and try to do your research. But
yeah, I would steer clear of like the Amazon ones that probably have like extra chemicals, adhesives, fragrances, things like that. Like you're not wanting to increase your toxic burden. Yeah. And I imagine if it's super cheap and it is claiming that it's going to change your life, it probably isn't going to hold up.
Try to like find like a good Ion foot bath company and see if they can recommend foot pads. That's what I would do. The Ion Company foot bath was one of the originals, and it is a huge investment. There's another one by Dr. Brimhall. He has a really good foot bath.
Okay.
And that is a company that they have decent equipment. And so I think it's just research to find out which ones, you're right, that doesn't have all the extra perfumes and things on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're somebody that thinks I might want to try this, why would somebody want to actually use a foot pad or an Ionic foot bath as opposed to other detoxification, support? There's so many different ways. So it's like, what maybe would make it, like, who's the person that this is for?
Usually these are the people that have very low lymph flow and individuals that feel swollen all the time that have inflamed joints. So most of the time when patients come to the office, it's because they feel like I'm so toxic, I can't use the restroom properly, I have constipation, I don't have proper bowel movements. They're going to try to get rid of all the toxins through their skin as quick as possible. And if they ever have congested lymph nodes, the only idea that they could do extra would probably do like a vibration plate to actually help the lymph move. But this has been shown, like an Ionic foot bath, to actually help cleanse the lymph. Those are why individuals, but that usually shows that they're backed up, like we were talking about, like with toxins.
Yeah.
And your liver's backed up. So one of the questions would be, do you start doing more liver detoxification in the process, which is another video called methylation.
Yep.
So that's the people that would be looking for foot bath or foot pads to work.
Okay, so here's what I'm taking away from that then. So maybe this is a really good stepping stone for somebody that maybe has poor drainage pathways, their lymph is really stagnant, and they're just not able to mobilize toxins effectively. So this is a really easy way. This is kind of like to bridge the gap before you start hitting the liver and the gallbladder and the kidneys and all this stuff where they don't have the means or the mechanism necessary to carry out detoxification. Yeah. This is a very gentle way to get them started, get their body moving a little bit in the right direction without it causing these Herx reactions or these negative detox reactions.
Totally. I think that when an individual wants to get a head start on their detoxification, foot pads and ionic foot baths can actually really work. And it loosens up the lymph. And the problem is, though, really, is there's a lot of metals in the body because there's a lot of metal toxicity in our environment, and they make your lymph run real slow. So if you can actually use ionic charges, what does metals have? Ionic charge. So you can actually pull it through the tissues and through the lymph. So, you could probably do a test like not an organic acid test, a heavy metal test, and see if there's heavy metals in the body, too.
Even like a hair tissue mineral analysis would be good.
That'd be good.
Work with somebody that can interpret that.
Those are the individuals, if you have heavy metals, you can try the foot pads, the Ionic foot baths.
Yeah. All right. Beginner detoxification strategy, foot pads. There it is.
Yeah. So try it out, guys. Remember, do your research. Find a good quality company. Check out the ones that Courtney and I have been talking about. And remember, we're just trying to find out if we think these things really work. And we've had people that said they worked really decently and some people who said they haven't. So it's up to you. Let us know what you think. Hit us up with some notes in the comment section of this video and tell us what you think.
Thanks.